So what this today wanted to be talked about is that we are the quantum leap, the state, the version of human species that is in the morphic consciousness field of lack of resource, competition for resource, um, adversarial competition for resource, need to have power. We talked about this in other meetings, needing to have power and control because we're in possible danger. That's fear. There could be bad outcomes, and we want it. And in this morphic field, you're always looking at not having bad outcomes. So how to do that? Get control and power over others so that they don't have say over your outcome, and vice versa. So this whole adversarial dominance, be dominated, lack of resource, all of that stuff. That's a morphic field version of the reality we've been in. What we're going to is that heaven on earth paradigm, right? And as long as you think that's silly and unrealistic, by the way, that is what you will experience. Thank you. That's also what I was supposed to talk about today. Um, there's a specific little uh, illustration I need to give. Um, the heaven on earth paradigm is what we've talked about before: equality, sovereignty, everybody doing their thing, enjoy, no sense of I'm wrong, I'm bad, how am I doing compared to, none of that. It's the childlike, not childish, childlike, knowing your goodness, knowing, just being in creative joy and doing what you do with no sense of being bad or wrong, or am I doing the right thing, and how does it compare to what other people are doing, and blah, blah, blah. That's all the old paradigm. The new paradigm is this goodness of being, a deep sense of the goodness and rightness of our being, and synchronicity, as in, I can't remember where we mentioned this, maybe last time, but that at all times working within and knowing we're working within synchronicity. What I need and want will be exactly perfectly met by what other people need and want to give, and vice versa. So there wouldn't be harming or trespassing on others to get what you want. There would be none of that. It would be what I need to have happen, not out of fear, but out of joy and creativity and what's authentic, is exactly what I'll get and receive around me, and vice versa. Like this dance that's always uh, where everybody's getting what they need and want, and there's abundance, because of course the God consciousness is infinite abundance, and it will create whatever we want in abundance, including misery and lack, if that's what we're asking for in the moment. By the way, you can have lack and struggle in abundance, can't you? Right, because it's all abundance. So far, are you with me on this? That the heaven on earth paradigm is this entire new paradigm, and everybody's there. And again, maybe not everybody understands exactly everything about morphic fields and how to work with the energies, although I bet a lot more do. But that everybody, there's no such thing as look out, someone's going to stab me in the back, or someone's going to take mine, where it's not even there, where it's cooperative. Does that make sense? No one's trying to get one up on someone else. That's an adversarial thing. That's a predatory. There wouldn't be predatory, I got to protect myself and mine and get my, it wouldn't even be there. There is a version of the human species where we've lifted into our angelic consciousness, but we're still experiencing walking around in this 3D earth, which, by the way, will, I'm going to say probably, because be like more clear, more brilliant, more vivid, colorful, just more everything. Um, it's a different paradigm. And when you shift from one paradigm, one version of reality, to another version of reality, we've talked about this before, within the quantum, and the quantum describes beautifully universal creative law. You do not, if you're at point A, let's call it the old paradigm of lack, adversarialness to get resources and get power over someone else, and predatory practices and all that stuff. Again, somebody's an enemy to one degree or another, or a threat. From there to where there's no such thing as threat. We're all one big cooperative, loving family where we all do our thing, and synchronistically, everybody is just cool. And we all know it. And we know it. It's very awake. You don't, in the quantum world, you don't have to go to get from point A to get to point G. I know I've said this before. You don't have to go through B, C, D, E, F. You don't have to. That's a physical world thing of like going through every like linear step to get somewhere. The whole thing about the quantum principle is you're here, the electron, you, we're here, and now we're here. And they both, because they both exist simultaneously in an infinite present. It all exists, each of us in our highest best, and each of us in every other possible everything that we could ever be in this lifetime and any other life, that they exist simultaneously. Now, we are the quantum leap. You and I and everybody watching this, and people who aren't watching, experiencing it their own way. The quantum leap could be boom, boom. We're there for all of us if we're ready for it. And I think this came up maybe in the meditation, or maybe in the last spirit talk. I can't remember. But we're each creating our own timeline version, because of things we need to experience along the way. And I think I shared maybe that I had asked the Arcturians directly, and they had answered, verbally, they had answered through Daniel. I had written a question into one of his meetings, and they said, yeah, there's a higher timeline where, for instance, Kamala won. Okay, your girl won. Off you go. But of course, I and you, because you're here with me, chose the Trump temporarily got in there, and the masculine principle doing what it's doing here, out of balance. Okay, is that a lower vibration? It is timeline. It is, but they said, yeah, but look at all the things you're learning and seeing along the way that you would not have become consciously aware of if you'd just, yep, off we go. So there's a thing in matrix energetics called leveraging time that Melissa Joy mentioned, and I understood it here. Now I really get it. When we're in one vibrational state, and this is what we understand, this is what we know, this is where we're going. And again, we may consciously or not consciously know exactly where we're going all the time. We're not trying to control that, except for that we want to be the highest possible that it can be for us. We each will choose the version of the timeline to get there that exactly shows us where our own little stumbling blocks are. So can we go right from here to there? Yes, absolutely. But to leverage what she used to say, leveraging time, and this comes up, everybody, like talking specifically as a practitioner, because that's what they were teaching, is as a practitioner, your client may have an instantaneous healing cure, just go boom, right into cancer's gone. Oh yeah. But there may be some very valuable experiences and insights. And I see that I'm different now, that I used to feel that way and I don't feel that way anymore. You're noticing the differences along the way. And whatever differences are best for each of us to notice, getting to that point of heaven on earth version of ourselves, that's the timeline we'll experience, and it'll be different for every one of us.